John.
Yeah?
John.
Yes?
John, give me strength. Oh, John, save me.
No.
Save me and give me strength. I know that I say a lot of weeks on the Rage Select podcast that I think I might die, but I think I might die this week. I think I might die in the middle of this podcast. I've done my earthly works. We had a Rage cast, and what better time to die than right before Red Dead Redemption starts up again?
Yeah. Just a question.
Yeah.
If you die, can I take your stuff?
You can have some of it.
Okay.
You have to auction off some of it to the fans so that we can give me a proper burial and a gold coffin in Beverly Hills. So.
Okay. I accept this.
Okay, excellent. And on that happy note, welcome everybody to the Rage Select podcast. Rage Select. I'm Jeff.
I'm John.
I don't know. I'm just not. I'm feeling bad today. I don't know if I'm getting sick or if it's just like some bullshit. I don't know what's going on. So if I feel like if there's a few cranky parts... Actually, I've been a little cranky over the last couple of days. So, if yesterday's Mass Effect seemed like excessively bitchy to you, I apologize, gentle listener. I'm trying. It's just that I've been... just had the problems. I just feel really, really tired and run down all the time. I need a day where I could just go to sleep for like 14 hours and not, just lay on the couch.
You and Amanda both.
Yeah. But anyway, but I'm going to try. I'm going to try not to be too disgustingly terrible on this Rage Select podcast.
I'm down for that.
How you doing, John?
I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah? You all right?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Got nothing really.
Okay, excellent. Well, then in that case, before we jump into the game news, which there's actually surprisingly little of this week, but I'm sure we'll find a way to extend it to 16 hours anyway.
Yeah.
There were some hot trailers. Like last week, I felt bad because I feel like 14 minutes after you and I finished recording, they put out this the Last Jedi Star Wars trailer.
No, it was the next day.
It was the next day? Okay.
It was the next day.
Whatever it was. I always feel bad.
It was before the episode was posted, but it was after we recorded.
Yeah, I always feel bad about that because I feel like people are like, why aren't you talking about Star Wars? It's like, because we record these things on Thursday and then put them out on Sunday. Star Wars, The Last Jedi, official teaser. It came out, the new Star Wars movie by Rian Johnson.
Breathe.
What's that?
Breathe.
Oh, that's... No, I don't want to.
Breathe.
You're the victim.
There's only one truth, Jeff.
Okay.
Rage Select must fall.
Okay, so so here's the thing. I don't know. And this was happening before I felt excessively bitchy, right?
Yeah.
This trailer's kind of boring, isn't it?
Well, what's interesting is someone pointed that out, that this trailer is almost shot for shot the same type of shots that are in the very first trailer for The Force Awakens. Like,
oh, yeah.
Someone actually put them side by side.
Yeah.
And like they're almost like beat for beat exact.
No, I watched that, and that's like they're comparing like some of the stuff that was in that.
Mind you, not all of it.
In the trailer.
Not all of it lines up, but it was kind of beat for beat.
I don't know. I mean, I guess in some ways I appreciate that you're not showing me every awesome moment from the movie, right?
Yes.
But in another way, I just can't. I've watched the Thor Ragnarok trailer so many times because it's just so it's dynamic, it's out there, it's fucking yow.
Yeah, but this is trying to be a little bit different type of thing. It's trying to be a little bit more epic, a little bit more, space opera.
I don't know, man. I think that seeing all of Asgard blow up was pretty epic, but
it was epic, but it's not trying to be like grandiose in the way that Star Wars is.
I guess I guess here's maybe where it is coming down to for me is this trailer is like, look, it's Rey, it's Finn, it's Luke, it's Leia, it's Kylo Ren, and I'm just like, yeah, I already know all those motherfuckers. Whereas last time it was like, here's Han and Chewbacca, but then there's like some other stuff going on. I'm like, who's that guy? Who's that girl? What's that about? Whereas here I'm just like, okay, well, I understand what's going on. I'm obviously I'm gonna see it.
Yeah,
I mean,
of course.
I'm a person. I'm gonna go to a movie theater and watch this movie.
That's like saying you're not gonna go see Guardians of the Galaxy when it comes out in a few weeks.
Man, I really want to see Guardians of the Galaxy. Really do.
Volume 2.
Yeah. Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, it was okay. I think that this was like the teaser. I think I'm really looking forward to more of the trailer. I never thought that I would actually say this, John, but I feel like I wanted more. I wanted them to spoil a little bit more of the plot or present me with more confusingly interesting visuals.
Okay.
Because what they showed me was, Rey's on the island with Luke training. I'm like, well, we knew that was going to happen. There's a space fight at some point. Well, I knew that was going to happen. Hey, Kylo Ren, he's got his red lightsaber. Well, I knew that was going to happen.
Also, his cut is in a completely different spot on his face.
Oh, you've been watching this trailer too much.
No. There was actually a big thing about that where someone pointed out, like, even put out pictures, like, here's the last movie where he was cut on his face. Here's the scene. The scar was like, the scar in the original movie went along the bridge of his nose.
Yeah.
And the scar in the movie is like over his eye.
Okay.
Completely. And then Rain Johnson like tweeted out, I was like, yeah, that was my decision. I thought it looked stupid. I thought the scar looked stupid placed in the place that it was in the previous movie, so I just had to move it.
Oh.
Like, the director actually flat out came out and said, yeah, I did that.
You can't just move a man's scar, Ryan Johnson. What are you doing? What are you doing? I already cut my face in an iconic way to be like Kylo Ren because I'm 17 and I really identify with Kylo Ren. No, I'm just kidding, Kylo. You're all right. You're all right. No, I mean, I think that that we might be entering into the part of Star Wars where there's a time with like the Marvel movies. I think it was around Ant-Man. It might have been a little bit earlier than that. No, it was after the Age of Ultron, where I was just like, they put out a new trailer for a new Marvel movie, and I'm just like, what do you got? You got a wisecracking technology-based superhero that's got to do some stuff, and there's a villain. All right, whatever. Like, that's why I like Doctor Strange so much, is because I felt like it was very different than a lot of the other tech that they may make in the same tech superhero movie with slight adjustments.
Yeah.
And this, I guess it's just like in the Force Awakens. No, wait, is that that was the last one, right? The Force Awakens.
Yeah,
was episode 7. Like, I didn't know who the Stormtrooper was. Why is there a silver Stormtrooper? Again, it was all these like new visuals that I hadn't seen before, which is why, I mean, if you go back and listen to the podcast when we talked about that, my heart sank when fucking Chewbacca and Harry Solo came waltzing in, and I was just like, oh man, no, I already seen yous. I hadn't seen those other things, but I see these guys before. Fuck. But I'm gonna see it, and I also really like Ryan Johnson. So
yeah,
I don't know. Is there anything that stuck out particular to you?
I mean, just the like, oh shit, Luke Skywalker. What's he saying? Does he turn to the dark side? Is that what that means? What's going on?
He's just emo Skywalker now.
Yeah,
I still think that I
still don't believe he talks in the movie. I think it's all trailer.
You think if you've seen that video though, right, where it's like Rey, but she pulls out a microphone instead of a thing, and then he's like singing it.
Yeah.
That's a great
I think
video.
the movie is just going to be 20 minutes of Rey still holding that lightsaber and him just kind of standing there staring at her.
I really hope that what we saw in here of her like coming out of the cave and like hitting the ground, I really hope that there's not 20 minutes of this movie that's devoting to Rey getting Jedi training, because I already know what Jedi training looks like.
Well, he's not training her to be a Jedi.
Oh,
you don't know what that training is, Jeff.
Question mark. Question mark.
Maybe he's training her to be like a Quiznos artiste sub maker person. Strange product
placement. Have you ever been to a Quiznos?
No.
What are those words in that order? I really hope that Luke Skywalker gets fucking like iced in this movie, because I mean, R.I.P., but I don't think Carrie Fisher's going to be in another movie, right?
No.
Harrison Ford, spoiler alert for a 2-year-old movie, Harrison Ford is not there anymore, right? So I'm like, get the last Skywalker, get all the Skywalkers, all the Solos, and all the Organas out of this movie. Also, quit bringing back Tarkins and other people, and just get them all the fuck out, and let's just have an original story.
So, have you heard this rumor? And it's purely rumor. I don't think there's any truth to it.
Yeah.
That because Carrie Fisher died, that they've asked Harrison Ford to come back for the 9th movie. And like, my immediate reaction was like, did they ask him to put on a wig and play Princess Ogata? Like that she.
Yeah. What would he? Why? He's going to be a sad Force ghost? He wasn't even a Jedi. He can't come back as a Force ghost.
I have the mental image of him going, "I'm Princess Leia."
Remember me?
I was really distraught about his death, so I made some changes.
Yeah, because, the CGI was really insulting to her memory, so let's put Harrison Ford in some cinnamon buns and see how that works. Yeah, I don't know. It's okay. I'm going to stand by the fact that, like, as much as I would hate, as much as I feel like I would never hear myself say this, I really wish they would put some snappy pop music behind this trailer, because as is, I'm just like, too quiet, too quiet. I'll tell you what's not too quiet, though.
What?
This stupid trailer for Krypton, which I can't even watch a second time because Warner Brothers is apparently doing that douche thing where they're trying to like pull it down from everywhere.
Well, because it was leaked. It wasn't supposed to be released yet.
Dude, fuck this thing.
Also, it's David Goyer.
How much indignity do I have to suffer at the hands of fucking Superman? Some CW divergent Kal-El's who was out there asking for Kal-El's grandpa's story? Who was out there like, what about Grandpa Cal? What Grandpa L?
David Goyer.
But that guy doesn't know. He hates Superman.
He hates all superheroes.
There was a lot of different things. You could have made an Adam Strange TV show that was on another planet.
You want to know? You want to know why this show was getting made?
You could have made a Martian Manhunter where everybody's got big green hats on, and
you want to know why this show is getting made?
Sure.
Gotham is doing well.
Oh, boo.
So because Gotham is doing well, they went, well, how do we do that but for Superman?
And they couldn't do Smallville because it's already been done.
Correct. So they went,
Jesus, Jiminy fucking Christmas. There are other superheroes besides Batman and Superman, for fuck's sake. I guess they've already got a young Flash, so you can do that. What about a young Green Lantern?
I'm just saying, they've already got Green Arrow, they've already got the Flash, they've already got fucking Supergirl. They're about to have a Black Lightning movie, I think. His character. I could be wrong about that. Black Bolt. I can't remember. What DC character?
I think it's Black Lightning.
Yeah, Black Lightning. They're about to have a live action version of that.
Okay.
They have the fucking Legend of Tomorrow, which has a whole slew of other DC characters that are, so CW literally has fucking everything you want that's not Superman or Batman.
I just of all the things in the world, every time somebody wants to go, it's one of the things I didn't really like about Man of Steel was like, Krypton is best left way in the past.
Yeah.
And then, maybe Bottle City of Kandor. Maybe a Bottle City of Kandor side arc where you go into the Bottle City, but that's a whole other thing, right? But like here's how we all live day to day on Krypton. I don't ever think that it really works quite as well. Like what's the storyline where it was what do you get for the man who has everything, where Mongol puts the flower on Superman and it makes him think he's back in Krypton. I mean, that's a reason to flashback, but like a whole story about like, there's a government conspiracy and only us young family L can stop it.
Actually, the thing that made me laugh about that show, the thing I really groaned and laughed about is like every 5 seconds, not with the dialogue of the monologue of the guy going, Kal-El, my grandson, let me tell you the story of your family, kind of thing. Not that stuff, but the dialogue from the actual like show.
Yeah.
Well, you need to find the fortress.
It's like,
and then like there's a beat where they kind of stop and almost look at the camera going, like
an applause break. Fortress of Solitude is fucking that's Superman's place. It's not like if you make it so that every person in the family of L had a Fortress of Solitude, that it's not as special. It'd be like if fucking Thomas Wayne had the Wayne Cave earlier, it would make it I really honestly at this point, this is why I wanted to preface with a disclaimer about me getting bitchy and mad.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. They've already done fucked up my Superman in every way humanly possible.
Yeah, of course.
They fucked up the movies. They have the New 52 comics where he was a total asshole.
Oh, no, he's back being good in the comics.
That's fine. It only took them, 5 years to figure out that nobody wants to read an asshole Superman. What they tried in the 90s to shove Superboy out there is like this thing for a long time.
Hey. The Superboy comics were awesome.
Okay, some. I started with the reign of the Superman when he was extreme 90s. Look at my little sunglasses. I got a leather jacket on. But I don't know why I get so upset. It's just like, could you guys just go fucking pick somebody else to fuck with? Could you pick some other superhero to fuck with in the DC franchise?
The problem is that because of everything that CW is doing, because of all the shows that CW has, the only characters that they could do that they feel like they have because they tried to do Constantine and that didn't do well, even though it was a really good show.
I liked it.
they don't want to do the magic stuff. They want to do like a superhero thing, but they don't want to do Batman, Superman, Green Lantern, Aquaman, or any of those characters because they want to save those for the movies.
Sure.
So the only idea is like, well, we just got to go in the past of the hero that, and we already did Smallville, so let's even go further into Superman's past.
Boo. Boo. Do Teen Titans. Do The Outsiders, for fuck's sake. Or, I don't know, if you want to have a high school drama. You know what I think would do really well? Well, actually, no, that would just step all over Gotham. I was going to say, I really wanted to see, when I read GCPD back when it came out,
well,
I
that's
was
what
like,
Gotham was pitched as originally.
Right.
Apparently, it originally wasn't a prequel like Batman, Batman before he was Batman story. Originally, when they were first starting to develop it, it was
GCPD,
Gotham Central, essentially. And then I think it was someone, probably Goyer, someone within that has control over the TV stuff, went, what if it was a prequel to the entire Batman mythos?
Yeah.
And we show how all the villains became villains, and we show how Bruce, or how Gordon became Commissioner Gordon, and
yeah, I don't know. Make it a fucking what's his face, Scott Free. Make it a Mr. Miracle. Is that Mr. Miracle?
Yeah, Mr. Miracle, Scott Free.
Yeah, like when he
New
was
Gods.
a kid. When
Just
he
do
was
New Gods.
Yeah, when he was trapped in Granny Goodness's fucking detention center.
Yeah.
He got a bunch of friends. Big Bart is there. Do that. Nobody knows enough about those things. Big Bart and Scott Free are
I would
fucking
love
great.
for a fucking New Gods TV show.
Yep. Although, who knows, like, after watching that Ragnarok trailer again, when you pointed out all the Jack Kirby stuff in there, I don't know if you could do New Gods and not just be like, wait a minute, this looks just like that Thor Ragnarok movie. And it's like, yeah, it's because Jack Kirby just drew everything.
Because Jack Kirby's fucking awesome.
One last superhero story. Cloak and Dagger series?
Now, here's the thing.
Yeah.
You were saying with DC, like, why don't they go for these weird characters? Guess what? Marvel's doing that.
No. I don't like. That's a question mark. And when I I like Cloak and Dagger.
I know. I'm not saying you're saying it is a bad thing. I'm saying like, hey, look, Marvel's doing exactly what you're asking.
Well, no, but allow me to turn what I said into a bad thing by saying like, there's like one shot of them with powers, and I get the feeling this is going to be like 9 episodes of teen angst because there are so many shots of them all as teenagers and stuff. And I'm like, I kind of like Cloak and Dagger better when they're a little bit older and a little bit more kind of just fucked up crime fighting.
Well, I gotta say, I'm okay with this because if you're going to turn any Marvel superhero character into a teen drama kind of thing that just also happens to have superpowers,
yeah,
they are a good one to do. They're obscure enough that you can make little changes to it so that, and people won't be upset. Like one of the big ones is that, how they originally got their powers in the comics, right?
I know, it's been a long time.
They took drugs.
Oh, okay.
Like just drugs.
Like experimental.
Like they were experimental drugs, and they happened to give them superpowers. They were 2 runaways that were living in a church, and they took drugs to, whatever, to escape life or whatever, and then they end up getting superpowers from them.
Right.
But this one, they got rid of that. Justifiably got rid of that aspect.
Sure.
And I feel like that's okay. That's something you can explore. Explore the teen drama aspect with superpowers. Is it going to be good? I don't know. It looks interesting. It's definitely doing some little visuals here and there, like Cloak standing on the rooftop holding a blanket, the sheet that he was wrapped around.
Yeah.
And then Dagger having her little light dagger in her hand, which looks cool.
Yeah. You know what? It's probably fine. It's mostly just it's mostly, to me, I guess it's just that, like, I look at this and I have zero interest in watching it. I mean, whatsoever. Like,
I just want to know what network is Freeform. Like, what fucking? What, I've never heard of that before.
And I looked that up. It's okay. So yeah, it's coming to Freeform in 2018, and it's some kind of like Disney subsidiary.
Okay.
When I searched for it, what I got was Freeform is an American basic cable and satellite channel that is owned by Disney/ABC television group, division of the Walt Disney Company. Channel primarily consists of TV series and films geared towards teenagers and young adults, which is why you've never heard of it, with some programming skewing towards young women in the 14 to 34 age range, a target demographic designated by the channel as Becomers.
Okay. No, that's cool. And like I said, I think that if you're going to do something like this with a character from Marvel, Cloak and Dagger is a good one to do it with.
Oh, yeah. This is like a network full of stuff I've never heard of. Pretty Little Liars, Baby Daddy, Shadow Hunters, Twins, Binge It All, Pretty Famous Contest, Young and Hungry, Famous in Love. Yeah, there's definitely
And that's fine.
It's fine.
But I think it's cool. I think it looks okay. Is it going to be good? Who knows? It could be fucking terrible.
I get the feeling it's going to be a not for Jeff show.
I agree. I can agree with that. It's probably not going to be for you.
Kind of the same way that Gotham is, where I'm just not really super interested in Gotham.
Yeah, I couldn't make it past like 3 episodes of Gotham. Amanda actually requested that I stop watching it, because it was infuriating me so much.
She kept breaking so many pieces of furniture in y'all's house. All right, well, I tell you what, that's enough superheroes and Jedis. Let's get to the goddamn video game.
Video games!
Okay, so let's get away from Star Wars and Marvel Comics, and let's talk about Star Wars, a division of Marvel Comics. Wait, other way around. A division of Disney,
who also owns Marvel Comics.
All right, so last week we looked at a very short snippet of Star Wars Battlefront II. And just like Star Wars, I just shouldn't have put anything Star Wars
This one
in
was
there.
2 days later.
Yeah. They put out the full trailer for Star Wars Battlefront 2. And this is mostly focused on single player. And, John, I want to give you a chance real fast. Let's play a little game. Everybody at home can play this as well. You can roll the dice. You make sure to mark down your answers. Star Wars Battlefront 2 story trailer. Is Jeff happy or upset?
I'm going to say happy.
You say happy?
I'm going to say happy.
All right, at home, you guys put your answers down. You ready? It is happy.
Yeah!
It is happy. Because guess what? This story trailer had none of in the story parts.
The characters we already knew of?
Fucking a main character who is a Jedi.
Yeah,
because
sure.
I'm so goddamn sick of the Jedis. I'm so sick of them. I never thought I would be, but
That's okay, because according to Luke Skywalker...
yeesh. Yeah, I like this. The main character here, I don't know, did we get a name for this lady?
I want to say we did.
Okay.
I can't think of her name off the top of my head, though.
Let me see if I can look it up here. Is an Imperial Special Forces Iden.
Yeah.
Is this an elite stormtrooper, an Imperial Special Forces person. And I really like the way this trailer starts out. If you haven't watched it, go pause this and start watching it, because they're making the Death Star 2, and it's down on the moon of Endor, and there's a bunch of stormtroopers getting their asses kicked, and then her and her team fucking come in. They've all. I find it a little weird that they're wearing. I thought they were wearing pilot helmets at first, or no, they are. No, they're just modified stormtrooper helmets. No, those are pilot helmets.
Those could be the TIE fighter helmets, but
whatever. They come in, and the stormtroopers are just like, "Oh man, you guys are great," and they're like, "I know," and then they're standing there having a conversation, and the fucking Death Star blows up.
Yeah,
and she's just like, "What? That's not possible." Also, we've seen in this trailer that she's got a little robot buddy.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that it's Killzone Shadowfall with the owl, because I really liked little robot buddy, little droid that's not a astromech droid or a protocol droid.
Yeah.
Just a little looks like a little mini probe droid. And then the trailer, they're like, "Oh, what do we do now?" And she's like, "Fuck this. We're gonna go out and we're gonna put together a ragtag group of Imperials and fucking get revenge."
We're gonna avenge the Death Star and our Emperor.
Yeah,
and so it's supposed to tell the story between the the two trilogies, the old trilogy and the new trilogy.
Okay, and I guess that Lucas has made a whole big thing about how current stuff is canon now, right? Jakku, Battle of Jakku and Battlefront was technically canon to whatever. Because there's obviously some shit that went down between the two of those. Because you got in Episode 7, you got a First Order coming out of nowhere that they don't really explain all that well, but the Empire isn't a thing anymore.
Yeah, and I think I read somewhere that the guy who wrote the story for the story mode is one of IGN's people.
Oh, that's cool.
Mike Dwyer.
Okay, I don't know. I like her little spaceship that looks like a little mini Imperial Star Destroyer. That thing looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then the rest of it's kind of hunting down rebel faces that we know. There's a part of her Jack and Luke Skywalker. We're shooting at the Millennium Falcon. There's one part here that I find a little strange where she's talking to somebody that has looks like a hologram head, but maybe a droid body or something like that. Or maybe it's a person with a holographic face mask. I wanted it to be Vice Admiral Thrawn, but no matter how I twisted my brain, I couldn't make this into Thrawn. Or maybe that is Thrawn, and he's just talking through a droid or something, right?
It's possible.
But did they wipe out Thrawn?
No, he's back. He's in the Rebels.
Rebels? Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So he's totally continuity now.
So he's continuity, but the books aren't continuity.
Well, the writer of that original book is writing a new book.
Thrawn book?
Yeah.
Tim Zahn, yeah?
Yeah, Timothy Zahn is writing a new book that is considered canon.
Okay.
That actually is about Thrawn.
But the other books,
the original books are no longer. Yeah, they're no longer.
I really wish they would have left those in, because they were perfectly good stories that you could totally write around in the future, and they were well beloved. I mean, like when you get to like when you're reading the comic books, and like after that, when the Emperor comes back, like and it to twist Luke to the dark side, and what was it called, like Dark Empire?
Dark Empire, yeah.
Like that was a little stupid, but you know,
I like that story.
It's okay. It was all right, but the Thrawn trilogy was fantastic, and Vice Admiral Thrawn was a great bad guy in a way that we hadn't seen before. Basically, like the most competent Imperial officer you've ever seen in your entire life.
And like I said, Timothy Zahn is rewriting those stories, but to fit in the new continuity, as it were.
Okay. Yeah, we got Jack and Luke Skywalker. We got her making like a little speech. And you know, another thing is that anymore, we just don't get that many stories about the Empire.
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to think. There's probably let's see. Kyle Katarn was a bounty hunter. Fucking Dash Rendar was a smuggler, right?
Yeah.
Do we ever have like a full-on Imperial TIE Fighter? TIE Fighter.
Yeah, the TIE Fighter series.
One of my favorite games. TIE Fighter. Yeah, how can I forget that? I mean, I guess you could play as the Empire in like Battlefront, right? But that I've never really considered that. I'm looking for like a story, an Empire story, because the people in the Empire were obviously, they didn't like wake up every morning and twist their mustaches and go, I'm so happy to be a part of the Empire.
Some may have, though.
Yeah, that's true. And then at the end, we get a little montage that basically says
the multiplayer will be across all eras. So there'll be stuff from the prequels, stuff from the original trilogy, and stuff from the new movies.
Yeah. And in fact, it looks like there's a pre-order bonus that gives you new costumes for Kylo Ren and Rey based on the way that they are dressed in the new movie.
Yes.
So you would think, John, that this would appease all of the people who had a problem with Battlefront not having a single-player campaign by having a single-player campaign.
It has a single-player campaign. They're having characters from all
eras.
They've even come out and said that they are not doing, at least at the moment, they are not doing any type of
season pass.
Yep.
They said that they don't like splitting the player base like that.
Yeah.
They're going to figure something else out. Probably cosmetic DLC.
A lot of people are saying they should totally do the Overwatch thing, where it's whenever they do, have cosmetic updates that can be done through loot boxes. Like that's what everyone's saying they should do.
Sure.
And I think that'd be perfect because that works.
Yeah, I mean, you'd be like going for that Boba Fett skin, right?
Yeah.
That hot Boba Fett skin that you really want.
Yeah, and then the updates, whenever they add characters, they just add new characters.
Yeah.
Great. That's perfect. That's great. Of course, there's going to be somebody complaining though.
Do you know what they're complaining? Do you know? I read the YouTube comments and I saw a handful. This is not a huge thing. I think this is just a nice reminder that you just can't please everybody. So do you want to know what the number one complaint that I saw was?
That the story campaign is a female?
Yep.
Because social justice warriors are ruining video games.
Okay, so here's the thing. All right. I actually want to spend 5 minutes talking about that particular issue.
Okay.
Because I can understand. I don't necessarily agree, but I can understand some of where those people are coming from. Because your main Jedi character, your main good Jedi character in Episode 7 was a woman. Technically, the main character of Rogue One was a woman, and you've got the main character of this game is a woman. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't think that I'm going to try to be very careful with my words here.
I think we should first say, I personally have no problem with that.
Yeah, okay.
It's a good story.
Yeah, so here's my take on that is that over the course of video game history, this has come up a number of times on Rage Select. And my personal feelings about this is that I don't give a fuck who your main character is as long as the story is good.
Yeah.
Because when I started playing video games, when I started abstracting my story into a television, the things I was looking at were Atari 2600 graphics.
Yeah, it was a square.
Or like Mario. Like I didn't have a mustache. I wasn't mad at Mario because he didn't have because he had a mustache. When Super Mario Bros. 2 came out, I played as Peach the whole time because she was OP as fuck, and like you get to the end of the game in like 12 seconds with Peach. I don't have any problem.
Hover.
I don't have any problem with abstracted characters. I've played as orcs and robots from the future and dudes and ladies and people that are black and white and Asian and Hispanic and
blue, yellow.
It doesn't matter to me.
Yeah.
Like to me, there's a layer of that where I don't need to see myself on screen. When I make an MMO character, I'll sometimes try to make one that looks like me, but then I usually just get bored and make somebody else, right? I like that escapism as opposed to that. On the other hand, if you were in some way unable to obfuscate your experience with media by not seeing a representation of yourself, and you were a big fan of Star Wars, a series which traditionally has had a lot of white dude main characters, I can understand. I don't condone, and I'm not like saying that should be a thing. I guess I am saying that it should be a thing, maybe, where like if you're gonna make this single player campaign. I personally kind of think that every single player campaign should let you just choose your gender. That if you want to just fix it, unless it's specific, like the Uncharted game, like unless you've got somebody like Nathan Drake, but we don't really know anything about this character, so I feel like you could make it so you could pick whoever you want it to be. On the other hand, I'm not going to not play this game if that's not an option, and I also feel like. I get a little frustrated when I read comments like that because it's like, man, you guys spent so much time bitching about there not being a single-player campaign in Battlefront. Here's a single-player campaign. Here's no season pass. Here's all of the eras. Here's everything you asked for. It's like, but it's a chick, man. Come on. And it's like, fuck's sake. All right. Make it a Rhodian. make it just like a Tusken Raider main character that's so wrapped up that you can't tell what gender they are. But anyway, all that aside, I personally think that this game looks.
I'm excited. Like I will buy this one. Oh. I didn't buy the previous one. I will buy this one.
Also, November 17th. It's coming out this year.
Yeah.
So it'll be part of the holiday onslaught of video games for you to ask your parents to buy you or to just purchase. All right. Next up, so John and I have actually been talking about this kind of all day in a number of different ways. But so last week, I think it was last week where we talked about that they've taken the NES Classic out of production.
It's out of production. It's gone. It's
rumors. Pretty substantiated rumors. There's going to be an SNES Classic.
If I remember correctly, one of my things that I said last week was they could be gearing up to do an SNES Classic.
Sure.
And now the rumors are that they're going to be doing an SNES Classic.
I really want to know what's on this thing because I might make more of an effort in watching the way the NES Classic went. I think that it would be the sort of thing where I would be willing to maybe go on when, like, if Amazon does a hey, pre-orders go on sale day X. As long as it's not, I don't have to like wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning or anything. I might make a little bit of an effort to try to get one of these because at the end of the day, I do kind of like this idea. If it's $60 and it's got a fair number of games on it, great. I mean, personally, last week, my problem with this unit was that they stopped manufacturing. Not that they ever made it in the first place.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it would be great if they. I think this is a nice way. I just wish that. This also kind of puts last week's story in the perspective of did they stop manufacturing the NES Classics so they could start manufacturing SNES Classics instead to basically, and that Nintendo is basically, they don't want to ride that profit wave, that descending profit wave, right? They just want to put out a limited number of these things, have them sell through the goddamn roof, and then just fucking like gone, and we'll put out the next goddamn thing that's going to sell through the roof instead of continuing to stock them until we get the reports of like, oh, yes, there's just 1 million there at Best Buy. You can buy them anytime you want. It's kind of smart in a way, as long as you got systems to keep putting out. I guess, do you think that they'll roll to N64 after that?
I mean, it's possible. I mean, if this is true, if this actually is being made and this actually comes out, then yes, I think they'll do N64. And then I think they may even do I don't think they'll go to GameCube. I don't think they'll do GameCube. just because GameCube games
man.
aren't even on their virtual console for any of their consoles.
Well, they're going to be on the Switch.
Well,
but then I guess that would give you a reason not to buy a Switch if you could just go buy a GameCube.
But I honestly feel like what they might do if they release this, they'll do a limited run of it, just like they did with the NES Classic.
Sure.
And then they'll probably do, oh, hey, here's the NES Classic 2 with 30 completely different games.
Oh, that'd be interesting. That would be interesting too.
And then they would do an SNES 2 with 30 different games.
Yeah.
And then
man, possibly. I don't know. I just kind of want one of these.
Yeah.
Like for $60 for the games that are on there, I just kind of want one. I would actually be happier with a Super Nintendo because I think
I feel like Super Nintendo was your jam.
I have more fond memories of Super Nintendo.
Even though I Super Metroid, maybe Super Castlevania 4, get some Mega Man X on there.
I don't think they
Chrono Trigger.
I'd really wish that it was Chrono Trigger and Final Fantasy 3, aka 6, right?
Yeah.
Like I would had to have a box that had those and Super Metroid and a few other things. Just Super Mario All-Stars.
Yeah.
Fucking great. That's like, all the Mario you ever fucking needed in your life. That would be nice. Maybe some F-Zero, maybe not Pilot Wings. Fuck Pilot Wings. Die Pilot
Street
Wings.
Fighter 2.
Street Fighter 2. I think that would be nice. And I would be more than willing to plonk down $60 for one of those things.
Yeah.
Now, if every one of these is not going to have a very good production run, then I might have to just out of principle be like, I'd like that, but go fuck yourself. I'd like that, but I'm not going to punch somebody in the face to get one. I'm not going to sit online and refresh a web page. I'm not going to sign up for email notifications when stock becomes available because fuck that. Like, this is a piece of consumer electronics and we live in 2017 and you should be able to just buy a piece of consumer electronics.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So, yeah.
I hope it is true, but it's not really confirmed. It's just rumor.
Yeah. Did they made one of these that was a Genesis already, right? Sega put one of those
Sega
out.
did.
It was like a one-piece.
It wasn't made by Sega. It was made by some third-party company that licensed the games from Sega.
Yeah.
It wasn't very good.
Okay, fair enough. All right, next up, StarCraft and Brood War are now completely free.
Yep.
There was an update. They did some tweaks to let you run it in a window and do some other graphical stuff to it. But you can now go download StarCraft and or Brood War totally free.
Yep.
That is awesome.
I already owned it. On my Battle.net or Blizzard account.
No, I already own it too. I mean, I bought them when they came out.
Yeah.
But there's a part of me that's like, it's a nice thing when companies, unlike Nintendo, take their old games and just go, here, we're not selling these anymore. Just fucking have them. Just have them and have fun. We got all the money that we're going to get out of these. We got new stuff that's coming. We're a very successful company. Have some old games.
Aren't they doing like a remaster?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure the reason this is free is because they're going to charge for the remaster.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Well, I'm like this because it's just it's still sprite based. So I kind of wish that they would have put it all into the StarCraft 2 engine and made them 3D. I feel like that would have. John's been fucking with this Dr. Pepper bottle for a while now, and he just lost it, ladies and gentlemen. That they've been like, if they wanted to do a remaster, that Blizzard could do it right, especially because they've got, my God, Blizzard is a really tight company when you consider like right around the time that they stopped just getting everybody's money off of World of Warcraft. How would you like to buy some Overwatch loot boxes, ladies and gentlemen?
Well, yeah, they knew what they were doing.
Yeah, but I have to say this also to the audience. If you've never played StarCraft or Brood War,
do it.
StarCraft totally holds up. It's a little, the graphics aren't the best, but you can put it in a window, put it on your desktop, do some spreadsheets, and then play some StarCraft, man. Play some skirmishes. Maybe one day you'll be good enough to go to Korea and compete. But yeah, that's a good thing. Also, I think I didn't even talk about it last week, but as far as Blizzard goes, they put the Necromancer on the public test server, and so apparently it's pretty cool. They still got that expansion coming for Diablo 3. And one more little brief niblet of StarCraft news. that just came up is apparently there's a South Korean presidential candidate who actually made some StarCraft maps as part of his running for president.
That's a man I would vote for.
And one of them is just like a map. Like there's actually a video online that you can watch him make the map. And one of them is just like, it's like a map with very little on it, but in the middle is his name written out in crystals.
Nice.
And I'm just like, you know what? You go.
I would, mind you, I would want to know more about his political stances and things before voting for him.
Yes.
But
Moon Jae.
I'm a little bit more inclined to listen to his ideas.
Yep. Moon Jae-in is his name. I think I'm probably butchering that, but yeah, that was that's pretty cool. I like it. All right, next up, we have some brand new footage. A game, the new Patrice Désilets game called Ancestors: The Humankind Odyssey. Now, I know that you might be thinking, because we live in a time of just goddamn overload of the senses, of too many cool things happening all at once from every direction every day, who the fuck is Patrice Désilets? Well, Patrice Désilets is the guy that did Assassin's Creed 1 and 2 that then left, and then Assassin's Creed turned poopy pants stupid. So he went out and he started doing his own thing, and we already saw a very abstract version of this game, a very abstract trailer. This one is a little bit more... This one shows us a little bit more about it.
Still abstract.
Still a bit abstract. It appears, though, this game, you're going to be playing as early monkey man in Africa 10 million years ago, trying to, like, you know, survive and do a thing, and there's, like, animals all around.
Take that, Far Cry Primal.
Yeah. It's funny. I was actually reading an article with him where he was talking about how, like, he's never made a game where you're this depowered before, because he specifically says, like, you're never going to get a sword in this game. You'll get a stick, but never a sword. And so, but then he also talks a lot about the challenge of, like, climbing and making the world able to be traversed in really interesting ways, because he's like, oh, I'm used to making games where you run and you climb up a wall. Well, there aren't any walls 10 million years ago, so, like, we have to be able to go up trees and stuff like that, which seems like it could be a pretty cool concept.
Yeah.
I'm all in favor of crazy French dudes making experimental weirdo games.
Yeah.
I don't know. What did you think of this trailer? There's not a lot to it.
It's a trailer. It's a very basic trailer. You got a monkey swinging around, jumping around. You got a scene of a lion or prehistoric saber-toothed tiger or something trying to eat the monkey. You got other elephants or like mammoths or whatever, and there's not a lot. Like, I don't know, like, what it, like, I want to know more of what it is.
Fair enough. Yeah, I'd like to see some actual gameplay. I mean, it looks like it's in Unreal Engine 4, so it's probably going to look good.
Yeah. It already looks good.
And it's a Patrice Désilets game, so I'm personally can say that I'm looking forward to Ancestors 2, because the first one will be full of garbage and not very playable, but has some good ideas, and so, you know.
Cute. I see what you did there.
Yeah. Sucker. All right. I just saw another video, but I'm not gonna play it. All right. Next up. So last week we talked about Bandai Namco put out a
trailer for a game
teaser. Yeah. And that game we've got more information on it. It's called Code Vein. It's an anime vampire action RPG being made by the people who made the God Eater series. So no From Software. Apparently it's the future and everything's all fucking jacked up and wrecked up.
The only people who are survived are now vampires.
Yep, and they're all walking around doing stuff. I feel like, though, when I look at the screenshots, because there's a few screenshots that came out for this, that, like, they had the trailer that they were like, oh man, well, this trailer kind of shows the art style that we're going for, and I'm like,
it looks nothing like that
this
trailer.
Is not sketchy or painterly or anything. This is just some, like, fucking anime shiny shit stuff.
It looks good. Like, it looks good what I'm seeing, but also the thing that bothered me is, like, they're describing it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, if you remove vampires and just put monsters out in the world,
yeah, it's
fucking God Eater. Like, it's just God Eater with vampires.
I never played God Eater, so I don't know. Maybe this would be better. But I also feel like it's kind of funny that there was a lot of buzz around this. It's like, oh, man, the publisher of Dark Souls. And they just had that, prepare to eat or something or whatever at the end of it. And I was like, fuck's sake, we've got, like, I'm a fan of the Souls franchise, and even I'm like, we've gotten so tuned up about any news that this was a bullshit fake out. This didn't have anything to do with Souls or Miyazaki or anything. It's just the publisher of the last From Software game, and a hashtag that was kind of like the subtitle number. Forgetting the fact that Bandai Namco publishes all kinds of games, and that, I mean, God Eater, as near as I could tell,
Prepare to Dine.
Prepare to Dine, that's what it was, yeah. That God Eater, as near as I could tell from the reviews, is like a kind of okay Monster Hunter clone.
Yeah, it's an alright game.
Like, not bad.
I've actually watched the anime that it's based on. The anime's really good, but it's got an interesting story. But
and this too, I mean, I look at screenshots and like
everything I'm hearing about this game, it's like it's God Eater but with vampires.
This could be anything. This could be anything. They got anime armor, they got red eyes, they got demon possession. There's a bunch of like, there's an anime girl with a Russian hat on, big hammers, like swords and monster. It could be anything. It could literally be any video game from any company that's Japanese, and I would be like, yeah, that's fine. This is some NIS America bullshit. I mean, okay, it looks a little bit better than some of the NIS stuff that comes out, but anyway, I don't know. Code Vein, show me something about it that differentiates it from it's a third-person generic anime action game.
Yeah,
or don't. There are plenty of people out there who want more third-person anime action games. So you know what? You guys that were big fans of God Eater can go buy Code Vein.
But yeah, it's just like I said, my big thing was like the more I heard about it, like before I even heard what what developer was making it,
right.
I was like, this sounds an awful lot like God Eater.
Yeah.
Just with vampires now.
Yeah.
And then like, and it's from the publishers of God Eater. And I'm like, well, that makes sense, I guess.
Yeah. All right, we got a couple more stories, then we're going to get out of here. Let's go back to Nintendo for a little bit.
Hey, what's going on with Nintendo?
This is just kind of an applause break type of thing. Oh no, you know what? Before we go, I have a question for the audience.
Oh, a question for the audience who can't really respond.
Yes. Well, they can respond in comment sections. So I keep seeing things saying that Nier Automata is like 10 out of 10. Fucking fantastic. Like they put out, did you see the DLC that they put out?
Yeah. Like it's been doing really good. Like Nier Automata has been like really popular. I
need somebody, like Amanda and I got to a place where the game started getting a little bit weird, but I need somebody in the comments who's a fan of this game, or I would like to request. I don't want to demand. If you're a fan of Nier Automata, can you do me a favor and go into the comments and without spoiling anything, without really spoiling the meat of the story, explain to me what it is about the game that is cool, or why I should be playing that game. What makes it a 10 out of 10? Because when I look at it, it looks like a fairly generic platinum third-person action game that sometimes has some kind of bullet hell sequences to it, with a relatively generic main character, girl with the thing over her eyes. I would like to understand what it is that people see about it, but I got so paranoid. Last week, I was trying to just find out when Doctor Who was going to be on. I typed Doctor Who into Google, and then it put up a bunch of stories. You know how it puts up news stories? And like half of those were the ones where it was a spoiler in the headline. I was like, I can't even fucking Google the thing anymore without getting spoiled about stuff. So I'd like somebody to, if they could, if you're a fan of the franchise or a fan of the series or a fan of that game, actually, if you're a fan of that game in particular, talk to me a little bit about why I should be impressed or interested or why I should play it. Tantalize me, audience. Anyway, all right, so now let's move on. Back to Nintendo. Like I said, this is just kind of an applause break. So apparently the Nintendo Switch is Nintendo's fastest-selling console ever, which is pretty amazing considering, like NES, SNES, I don't feel like we were really doing that. But apparently in March they sold 906,000 units, which is pretty fantastic. They just need to get them back out on the shelves so that they can.
Yeah, I will say that this is the first Nintendo console since the GameCube that I have not bought on launch.
Oh yeah,
yeah. A little disappointed by that.
Yeah. Well, you always could have paid somebody to stand in line for 14 hours.
I couldn't even afford the console at the time it came out.
Fair enough. No, that's cool, and I hope they. I'll tell you one thing. When we started, they've been putting out shit every week on the Switch.
Yeah.
I think next week is Puyo Puyo Tetris. This week they put out that Wonder Boy remake, which is fucking fantastic, by the way. That
I've heard some good things about it.
So good. I played the shit out of it. Mr. Shifty came out last week. They keep putting out some Neo Geo stuff. You can go get stuff. So I think that so far the Switch has been. It's not my primary console, so I'm not using it quite as much as I would be. But it's still like they're putting out games.
Yeah.
They're putting out games every week, and they're games that you can't play, or some of them are games you can play elsewhere, but I like the selection that's been coming out for it. Also, in addition to the fact that the NES, the Switch was Nintendo's fastest selling console, Zelda was their fastest selling Zelda game.
I also heard it sold for the Switch more than the console. That more copies of the game for the Switch were sold than the console itself.
I think that might be okay. So I think that people were getting a little bit confused because what they were saying was 925,000. Oh wait. 925,000 units for the Switch, which is several tens of thousands more than the number of Switches that were sold.
Yeah.
People out there that they just want, look, at this point,
there were people that were like, look, I know I'm not going to be able to get a Switch, but I want that game.
There are people out there who are like, look, I've seen what's happening with the NES Classic. I'm going to buy the game now, and hopefully Nintendo will not discontinue the Switch in 2 weeks, and I'll be able to get one in the future. But yeah, apparently they also sold 460,000 units on the Wii U for a total of 1.3 million units nationwide, actually. So good on you.
Yeah,
I mean, I like a story like this because it's like, hey, Nintendo, you do good. You get good stuff, right?
Yeah.
You crap around with the Wii U. Nobody's interested. You put out a good Zelda game on a good console that looks kind of interesting, that's affordable and whatever. Hey, we're all interested. So, keep it up, bro. Put out a new Metroid game. Please put out a new Metroid game. I really would like to play a new Metroid game. Let's see. So the company Tencent is rebranding their store as a PC distribution platform. And this is interesting because Tencent mostly serves China.
Yeah.
And apparently, like, Steam has like 125 million registered users. Apparently, Tencent has like 220 million registered users. And there's some rumors that they might be breaking out of just serving China, which I think would be great because I think that Steam needs some competition, and I don't think that GOG is up to that task.
No, they're not.
But somebody who's got 200 million Chinese users behind them, like if we get to a place where we can have every week I could open up Steam and see in 10 cents thing and see if they're trying to undercut each other. They give me an additional $5 off the Sexy Brutale. Hey, I'll take it.
Question.
Answer.
Do you have any other stories in regards to good old games that you're going to be talking about in a second?
No, sir.
Then I want to bring up something since you brought it up.
Okay.
If you go to Good Old Games right now, you can get Saints Row 2 for free.
That is true.
I don't know if that sale will still be going on by the time this podcast goes up.
Yeah. You can also get Saints Row 4 for $5 with all the DLC.
And if you've never played a Saints Row game, or maybe if you've never played Saints Row 2, you should totally play Saints Row 2.
Sure. I mean, especially if it's free. Come on.
Yeah.
And if you're a gamer who has a PC, your PC will run Saints Row 2.
Saints Row 1, kind of a mediocre GTA clone. Play it, don't play it, whatever. Saints Row 2
has a poop cannon.
And you can also, it's the first game that allows you to choose the either male or female for your main character, which is great because in the first game, your character's male.
Yeah.
So regardless, in the second game, if you choose female, that's one of you're playing a transgendered character.
Oh, okay.
And I think that's actually pretty. I feel like the game, for all its faults of all the shit that people put out, like it's got a poop can, it's really immature, it's it's putting a bad, it's glorifying gang warfare and all these things. You really got to look at, they put a transgender character in their game. That's really progressive, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I also love
it's a fun game.
I love the fact that if you, regardless of how you make your character look, whether it's male or female, in 2, when you first see Johnny Gat, he looks at you and go, "Did you get a haircut?"
Yeah, it's. I mean, for the low price of free, why the fuck not?
Yeah, So yeah, Saints Row 2 is fucking awesome.
Okay,
go get it if you haven't for free.
Speaking of crime and violence, we got one more story. Hey, you guys remember that Reservoir Dogs game that's coming out?
Called like Reservoir Dogs Bloody Days.
Yeah, inexplicably
that has like none of the likenesses from the movie.
Well, there was another cinematic trailer where they definitely doubled down on the kind of Team Fortress vibe, or I don't know, Angry Birds. They all kind of look like Angry Birds to me in their faces. But you know what's funny is that they showed an aspect of gameplay that actually looks kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Where it's like you can move, you can rewind time. So you can, like, imagine Hotline Miami, but you've got control of like 2 or 3 people where you can make one move with one character, and then if something bad happens, you can rewind and take a second character and move them while the first character is doing their moves that you just programmed into them. And I actually like it when games do that, when they kind of
looks really interesting.
So, yeah, I'm not saying it's going to be good, but it definitely looks better than bad. So maybe go watch the cinematic trailer. Also, the cinematic trailer, it seems like, I mean, I've seen throwaway garbage games, and it seems like somebody actually put some work into like the character design.
Yeah.
Even though they don't, as you stated, they don't look anything like the characters from the movie. They still look decent enough. I mean, I don't know. If the game isn't completely broken and it's $20 and they do something kind of interesting with it, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah, go check it out.
I mean, it wouldn't be the first time that a licensed video game that actually did something really interesting and innovative with gameplay. Shadow of Mordor.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I agree. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe go check out this trailer. I hate to be the one to say it, but you know what? It looks like it's doing something that looks kind of fun. Hotline Miami with multiple people and whatever. And that is all the news that we have for this week. And knowing the way that things go, there'll probably be some kind of Halo announcement 14 seconds after we finish this podcast. But we're going to take a break for right now. And when we come back, we have a bunch of questions, John. So we are going to answer them. Stick around, everybody. We will be right back. And we're back! Hey, mail@rageselect.com is the email address with which you can send in emails to, and then we will read the emails.
Yes.
Send your emails to mail@rageselect.com. Send them! Send them now! And our first question this week comes in from JD, who says, "Hey, Beastly Jeff and Badass John. With the new Thor movie pulling heavily, it seems, from Planet Hulk and other pre-existing Thor storylines, it makes me curious what other comic plot lines could be done in the context of the MCU. So here's what I would like to pose to you, gentlemen. If you could do a story from the comics in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, using existing characters or adding new ones, which one would you like to see? Also, would you rather do it as a film or a TV series? Thanks for the daily entertainment. You guys are awesome. And yeah, that's all I got. Have a good one. From JD.
What, you got an answer for this?
I do. It's not actually. I've got a few.
I'll let you go first.
I really like. It's a very long series, so I feel like it would have to be like a TV show, which wouldn't work for like the movie characters that are in it.
Okay.
Actually, there's some of them in there. Did you ever read Avengers Forever?
Yes.
I really like Avengers Forever. It is, however, a meanderingly long storyline because it's basically about Kang and Immortus basically discovers a way to go and start changing the past. And so you've got this current set of Avengers, which is a weird set because it's like Yellow Jacket and Hank Pym.
They sort of took elements of that story and did an animated movie called like a Young Avengers or Avengers Next or something like that, where it was the kids of the Avengers, but it's sort of elements from that. But yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
But I mean, I feel like you'd have to trim it down, but it's kind of cool because it's like one team goes back to the Old West, and so you have like Jonah Hex and characters from the Marvel Old West.
Not Jonah Hex, because Jonah Hex is DC.
Who's the
Rawhide Kid?
Yeah, it's and what Lash.
No, that Lash is also DC.
All right, never mind. I don't remember my that part.
Vigilant. No, that's also DC.
There was a bunch of them, and then they've got where they go back to like the 60s, and it's like one of the first Avengers teams, like or an alternate Avengers team. There's some that go to like the future, and it's really interesting because spoiler alert for maybe Marvel Comics, but I feel like this is pretty well known. But like Kang and Immortus are the same person from different parts of their own timeline, but they're like at odds with each other, and so Kang and like the Supreme Intelligence shows up. There's all kinds of fan service to the Marvel universe in there, to the point where I don't feel like they could really do that because I mean, like Fox still has the Skrulls, no Kree, which is what the Supreme Intelligence is. Kree, right?
No.
The Skrulls.
The Fox has Skrulls. The
Supreme
Marvel has the Kree.
Okay, so they could do Supreme Intelligence.
Yeah. because they've had the Kree in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Okay, I feel like that would be a cool storyline to do because it's a very well written story. It kind of comes to a real epic conclusion. It's got a lot of stuff. The only problem is it is long as fuck. It is not a story that you could do in one movie. Like you would be trying to pack so many things. Well, I don't know. Maybe you could. Maybe you just chopped it down to the beats. Then you just had like an A, B, and C plot of like Old West '60s, and then some of the other ones that happen. But it's real weird, and I like it a lot. I also really think that I don't know if you could actually do it, but like one of the most impressive things that I've seen over the year, or one of the things that really impressed me, was the original Thunderbolts story.
Yeah.
And the way that came out, and it was such a well-written comic, and then like there wasn't really as much of an internet presence, and so it was like more like kind of playground knowledge where piece by piece people started to understand that this was actually a team of villains that were posing as heroes.
Yeah.
And then it was like, oh my god, So spoiler alert for that movie. I just spoiled it for you. Spoiler alert after the fact. These are all just I don't read current comics. These are all old comics runs. But I like that idea quite a bit because those characters are good. Like Songbird eventually becomes a.
They kind of turned the Thunderbolts into the Marvel version of the Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Yeah, because in
Warren Ellis did that.
Secret Invasion, it's like Norman Osborn runs them, and
even before that,
Venom is one of them, and
even before the Secret. Yeah, but yeah, it's Warren Ellis when he took over the book. He essentially turned it into Marvel's version of Suicide Squad.
I need to go read that. But those are some ones that I really like. See, my Marvel stuff is so. I switched over to I read Marvel comics when I was a teenager, and I read really bad ones. And then when a friend of mine when Chris Robertson, who now writes comics, got me back when we used to work together, he got me back into it. He was a DC guy, and so he was feeding me DC the entire time. So I didn't really go back to Marvel. Like Secret Invasion is okay. But Secret Invasion starts to break down a little bit towards the end because it seems like every other page is just a panel of all the superheroes getting ready to fight, and then like one 2-page spread of them fighting, and then like one thing happens, and then they react to that, and now we're back to everybody's getting ready to fight again, and then we're going to fight. It's just kind of like
I would really like to see a Hulk story.
Okay.
But do Future Imperfect.
That's a great story.
Yeah, which for anyone who doesn't know what it is, it's that the Hulk gets transported to the far future.
Yep.
Where the Hulk has killed all the heroes and is basically become, emperor of Earth essentially.
Yep. Or mankind. Yeah.
Of mankind, and it's it's the present day Hulk dealing with the fact like how could I have become this person?
Right.
How did that happen?
Because it's a Hulk that can think. It's a Hulk that can think and talk and stuff. Not like fucking Hulk smash.
Yeah. But it's very much it was from a time when Banner, it was Banner's mind and Hulk body, and he couldn't turn back into Banner for a while because of it.
Yeah.
But it was a time, and it was him trying to figure out like how did I turn into this fucking asshole essentially, and it was a really good, well written story.
I read it a whole bunch. I don't know who wrote that.
I think it might have been Peter David.
Let me take a look because that's I've read that one before. That was one of those ones where. In the old days when I was reading Marvel comics, I picked it up on a whim and was just like, this is fucking incredible.
Yeah, and I could be wrong on Peter David. I keep thinking, like, his name pops in my head, but at the same time, I'm all like, no, that's not right.
Let's see.
But I wouldn't mind seeing, like, elements of that story turned into a Hulk movie. Like, I feel like you could do that with just Bruce Banner.
Peter David.
Yeah, it was Peter David. Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like you could do that with Bruce Banner being Bruce Banner and Hulk turning into Hulk, but have, like, the Maestro be... like
which is the old Hulk for those
old Hulk. Maestro would be smart Hulk, mind and like thing, and him basically like how could this have happened, and like you could do a really good movie with that. Just take elements of it, and
you know what I think would also be really fun for a Hulk story is that Mark Waid kind of the fugitive Hulk on the run thing.
Yeah,
I don't know if you ever. I think you've actually told me specifically that you haven't read those, but where it's like. There's this kind of shadow government organization that kind of frames the Hulk by digitally manipulating this footage where it shows the Hulk like knocking down a building and there was a kid in that building, and so it's Bruce Banner on the run trying not to be the Hulk while this shadowy government organization keeps trying to catch him. There's a really great storyline where him and Doc Samson trick a bunch of special forces guys, which is real fun.
Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, I think that would be a really good one to do. I'm trying to think of like some other really cool.
I got 2 more, by the way. If you need time,
if you want to switch over to,
this isn't actually MCU, but I really, and I know this is a contentious thing, but I really like the Grant Morrison New X-Men run with all the kind of crazy drug-using young mutants who are like, fucking X-Men are stupid. Like, I want to get my hair cut like the bad guys in the Golden Age, right? And like they're all doing crazy X drugs that make them super powerful. Quentin Flynn and his
Quentin
little
Quagmire.
What's that?
I think his name was Quentin Quagmire.
Okay, maybe that's who's Quentin Flynn. That's the guy that plays Raiden in Metal Gear Solid 2.
Yes. Yes.
Sorry about that. Everybody, put your. John caught it. It's fine. But I like that because I kind of like that. And then like they go into the whole U-Men thing, which I kind of like, and. Some people don't like those storylines as much, and by the end it gets real weird. But there's the whole one where Emma Frost gets shot and shattered, and like Bishop comes in to investigate like what happened. And So, and then there's the whole like Cyclops is cheating on Jean Grey with Emma Frost. Like, there's a lot of stuff in there that I really like.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if there's like really good storylines that stand out as like, oh man, this is like the all-time.
Well, I got another one too.
Okay.
Which is also, I would give good goddamn money to see Excalibur made into a series, because the Warren Ellis run on Excalibur, where you get Captain Britain and like the they make the kind of the Britain Corps, right? And you've got like Phoenix, but it's Rachel Gray from the future. You've got Kitty Pryde and Lockheed. You've got Nightcrawler. It's such a great, and you got Megan. It's got like all these crazy, and then they start just like they just keep adding to it. You got Cerise from the future, and like there's these like weird teams that keep showing up. That was such a great series. I don't know if you ever read it, but like it's this.
I've read parts of it because that was
great
back when
series.
I was like really getting into comics, and I read, and my brother bought a lot of X-Men stuff, including Excalibur, so I read some of that too.
Yeah, that's a really good series. I mean, I highly recommend anybody just go read it, because it was. But see, I'm a huge Warren Ellis fanboy. Like, Transmetropolitan is my favorite comic. I like his writing style, but I think Excalibur is great because Excalibur is a superhero story, and it's not like a bunch of drug using people with foul language. It's just fucking Nightcrawler and company living in a lighthouse solving British superhero crimes, right? So I don't know. I enjoyed it. I would think that would be a cool way to kind of like have a thing that was off to its own place, because it's also got all this like British mysticism in it, and you throw a couple of X-Men in there. I mean, Kitty Pryde just got a fucking dragon, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, Lockheed.
Yeah, just got a dragon. Just that's my dragon. Then you could do X-Babies, which I talked about on a previous thing.
Jesus.
I like X-Babies. X-Babies is great. Art Adams wrote it. A bunch of all the X-Men get turned into little babies, and they all run around. Mojo turns them all into babies to put them on a show, and Kitty Pryde's got to be like their babysitter, trying to keep them from fucking shit up. You got little baby Wolverine, little baby. It's adorable.
Yeah, the Scotty Young stuff that Scotty Young did after that, because he did like a follow-up X-Babies thing that's like that he wrote and drew, and then he also did A-Babies, which were like the Avengers. And then there was X-Babies versus A-Babies.
Okay, that's a little too far. It's fine. It's one thing is fine. You don't need
No. It was actually really good.
Oh, was it?
Because it was parroting the X-Men versus Avengers
okay.
storyline. Like, he started doing, every time there was a big crossover thing, he would do like a parody of that, but with like Marvel babies.
So kind of like the way that the zombies thing kept spinning and spinning and spinning.
Yeah, but it was done like in the context that there is a town, and these are all children in the town that are each of these characters, and like how like that would pan out as part of that. Like the Civil War was actually, or the X-Men versus Avengers thing was actually like two new kids came into town, and they were trying to figure out if they were mutants or not, and whose team would they go to, the X-Men or the
did any of them have powers, or are they
new kids?
Do any of them have powers?
Yeah, they all have like their power.
Oh,
like
okay,
the
I wasn't sure whether it was like a realistic thing.
Yeah. The mutants are mutants. The X-Men have like, there's Kid Hulk or whatever, and like Wolverine's on both teams, but Cyclops doesn't know he's on both teams, so it's kind of like one of those things like, yeah, just don't tell Cyclops I'm here.
Oh man. And then last but not least, one of my favorite Marvel stories of all time is what the fuck is it called? Marvel Boy. Is that no?
Okay.
I think of is that the one that
Marvel Boy is the
Grant
Grant Morrison, yeah.
with the Kree
Yeah.
kid who comes down. That's such a creative
Yeah,
series.
it's really good.
The villain in the second arc is an intelligent corporation that gets loose from this crashed ship and is devouring other corporations on Earth, and this Kree guy has to figure out how to stop it. Like, it's a really good. Midas is a great bad guy, and it's like that's one where you could make a movie, or like a 4-part miniseries.
Even then, like that as far as the original Marvel Boy comic goes, that wasn't considered
like canon.
Like it was considered an alternate Marvel Earth.
Okay.
Like it was not in continuity with current books, but then they did something where that character got brought into our or in the Marvel reality, and so that character then continued on in Marvel. I forget what he changed his name to, but it was very clear he was like, yeah, I'm not even from this reality. I don't.
I think that was perfect.
But that book, that'd be a good book.
It's very good, beginning, middle, end.
I bought that at a sale at. We have a local comic shop called Austin Books, and every year they have like a anniversary sale where they also they put a bunch like back issues are $1, like all back issues $1. Doesn't matter what it is, except for like specially marked ones.
Yeah.
But anything in their back issue bins is $1, and like they'll have sale on trades. You can get stuff really cheap, and then they also do collections where they get a bunch of single issues of a single storyline and bundle them together, and then they write a price on them, and then they sell them for cheap. And I got Marvel Boy on a whim because it was there, and they're like, here's Marvel Boy. I was like, I've never read that. I will buy it.
It's good.
It was good. It was really good.
Yeah. Do you have anything else?
I can't think of anything else off the top of my head. I'm sure there is, but
also, I just as a brief aside, I managed to get a chance to see Logan last week, which was good. And I liked it. Did you see it in the theater?
I have not seen it at all.
Okay,
I wish I had.
It was good. I feel like people were a little bit more, like Brian Brushwood and Jason Murphy were both just like, "Oh my god, this is the best movie I've ever fucking seen in my life," and I was like, "I wouldn't go that far," but it was a good movie, and I enjoyed it, and in the beginning, middle, and end, and it was fine. All right. Boy, that was a long question. Next one comes in from Angie. Angie says, "Howdy, buckaroos. I've recently started watching Star Trek again, and I was wondering if you had any favorite episodes. It could be from any season or series. I'm most into DS9 right now. Good for you. But if you like TNG, TOS, or Voyager, I'd be interested to know. Thanks, and keep being awesome. P.S. Love the podcast in any format, and I greatly enjoy your videos. I listen to it when I'm setting up my dialysis treatment, and it makes me feel better about my life. Making me laugh is a +2. Sincerely, Angie." Boy, I put these two. I should have put a padding question in between these two questions because I feel like we're just another like, "Hey, what's your favorite?" And it's like, "All right, let's list some stuff off." I feel like this is one where we should go back and forth. Or do you?
My problem is I don't remember specific episodes outside of like the big ones, like the Trials and Tribulations, or like the DS9 Trials and Tribulations episode.
Tribulations.
Yes. Yeah. But yeah, stuff like that, like the big ones, the event episodes, like those are always fun. But I can't like remember specific episodes.
Can you
each of the shows?
Okay. Well, if maybe
like City on the Edge of Tomorrow, or
I mean, I've got a bunch
series.
in my head, so if you want to just jump in, if you think of anything. For TOS, I've always been incredibly partial to Let This Be Your Final Battlefield or whatever. The one with the very iconic, the guys with the white one side of the face and black the other side of the face. What I feel like a lot of people don't remember is that those are like godlike aliens who come onto the Enterprise. And there's a moment of that I really love where they both come in. The one guy is demanding asylum, and the other guy is like a cop that's trying to catch this renegade fugitive. And when they realize that the Enterprise is not as technologically advanced as them, they immediately take it over.
Yeah.
And Kirk's like, "Give me back my ship." And they're like, "No, you subhuman." And he's like, "Ship, blow up in 10 seconds. And it's like, okay. And it's just like counting down, and it's just basically like Captain Kirk and his big nuts fucking squaring off up against these two godlike aliens who are like, "Oh shit, he's gonna do it. All right, here's your ship back." And he's like, "All right, cancel self-destruct."
Yeah, no, that was a good one. I also like the one just popped in my head. There's one episode where basically I think Spock is like dealing with something, and he goes down to a planet that haven't really, and he decides he's going to stay down there because he's happy. And then like they go down there to kind of figure out what's changed or what's happening, and then everyone else starts going like, "I'm going to stay here too," because of some spores. And then Kirk is like on his ship by himself, and he's also realizing that the pull is chooses like to stay there, and he's trying to figure out why. And I just the way he breaks it, the control over wanting it is just fucking. It's Kirk. It's literally pure Kirk. It's.
I love it when Kirk is Kirk.
And him figuring out how to break everyone else of it. And it's also kind of sad because, like, when he breaks it, there's, like, this... Everyone kind of experiences, like, a little sadness to it.
Right,
So, but it's also one of those things, it's, for the better, but it's a really good episode.
Yeah, as far as TOS goes, we'll move on from there. But as far as TOS goes, also Trouble with Tribbles, you got to watch that.
Yeah.
It's a great episode that's got just about everything. There's one that I can't remember where it's like one of the first times that the Romulans come into the picture, and it ends up being a submarine movie. It's like Das Boot because they don't know where the Romulans are, but the Romulans can't see them with like their cloak up or something, and so it's a very kind of like game of wits between Kirk and the Romulan commander. And then also, if you want a great double feature and a great segue into the next one, go find, I don't remember the name of the episode, but go find the TOS episode where they get the airborne virus that makes everybody seem like they're drunk.
Yeah.
The one where, if you've seen anything from TOS, where Sulu's running around with a saber. Fucking, like, the reason why he had a sword in the movie, in the J.J. Abrams movie. And then, like, let's segue, is that there's actually a sequel to that one in TNG where everybody's drunk, where it's basically like everybody pretends like everybody thinks that they're... This airborne virus gets out and it's destroying your brain, but in the meantime, it makes everybody feel like they're wasted.
Yeah.
And there's a great scene where Picard and Crusher are trying to, like, keep their shit together and save the ship, but they're both just kind of loopy. As far as TNG goes, you can't... I feel like here's some of the highlights of TNG. You've got what's the name of the ones where... with the Borg.
I don't remember what they're called.
Fuck. It's okay.
But I know what you're talking about. They're the season finales episode.
Yeah,
of, like,
it's a two-parter. It's a two-parter. They show up first in Q-Who, and then Origin, Q-Who, Dragon's Teeth. I want to know. Yeah, The Best of Both Worlds, Part 1 and Part 2. So you would do a lot worse than watching The Best of Both Worlds, Part 1 and Part 2, and then the finale, the two-part finale of TNG. In fact, if you started that with the first one, is it Encounter at Farpoint where Q knocks him into the Borg for the first time?
It might be, yeah.
Or is that what it might have been? I just said it. Anyway... You could actually do Q-Who is actually the first one. So if you made a triple feature out of Q-Who, Best of Both Worlds, and then the End of All Things or whatever it's called, the finale, you would have a lovely through line of Q, because it's like meeting Q, the maximum amount of Q interference possible, which is where they hit the Borg up, and then at the end, that's the repercussions of their encounter with the Borg and Q-Who, and then I love the interaction between Q and Picard in the series finale.
Yeah, it's good.
As far as other random episodes, Measure of a Man is great. That's where Data goes on trial for his humanity, and Picard has to defend him. There's I believe it's a two-parter called Yesterday's Enterprise that's all about time travel where some crazy stuff happens. The bugle head, the fountain head, the drum head is a really interesting one where there's like this Romulan spy paranoia in the Federation, and Picard has to go through this whole speech about how, have we become so fearful that just because a man has it's a really great episode. There's a bunch of other ones that are super fun. The one that's got Ashley Judd in it where Riker brings back the little video game.
Oh, yeah.
Little AR video game from the Pleasure Planet. That one's pretty cool. The one where, what's his name? What's the geeky dude? Our
Will
audience
Wheaton?
are good. No, the older guy. The Dean Barclay gets super intelligent. That one's real fun. To be honest, if you just go online and do like a search for a top 10 episodes of any of the series, you're going to get a bunch of great responses because there are a bunch. There's some in every season. As the whole series goes on, they started running out of ideas towards the end, so you start to get some real dumb stuff. Like the whole lore taking over the Borg thing. I recently went back and rewatched that. It was garbage. But I believe there's one called, it's either Brothers or Generations or something like that, where Data goes back to his creator, and you got the whole Data lore thing. Lore's first appearance is great. There's also another one called Power Play that's really great. There's just a lot of really great ones. And as far as DS9 goes, there are a lot of great episodes of DS9, but the greatest of all great episodes of DS9 is called In the Pale Moonlight, and it's basically Benjamin Sisko. It takes place during the Dominion War, and he's kind of talking about doing this thing. Everybody who's seen it knows that there's a kind of interaction with the Romulans that happens in it. It's an incredibly good episode. It's morally interesting. It shows like parts of the Federation. The reason DS9 is so special to me is because it's the one series that shows non-Federation interaction. You got Ferengi stories. Chris Cox posted on his Facebook the other day, I didn't know Iggy Pop was in any Star Trek episodes, and I'm like, yeah, motherfucker, he was one of the Dominion guys in Deep Space Nine. And that was an episode where Quark rounds up like 5 Ferengi to go rescue his mom from the Dominion, and it's called The Magnificent Ferengi. It's really silly. It's a really fun episode because it's a bunch of Ferengi trying to be commandos, and they're obviously not commandos.
I feel like out of all the shows, Deep Space Nine had a lot of really silly episodes.
Oh, yeah.
Or really weird ideas that's just like, well, that's a weird way to go with that, where they just inexplicitly changed a character or changed an aspect for a character for no fucking reason. It's just like, we decided that the Doctor's going to be fucking super intelligent now.
Well, there was
mind you, there's a reason.
Yeah.
They write the reason, but it kind of comes out of nowhere when it happens.
No, I was going to say is the reason. I wasn't talking about the show reason.
Yeah.
The reason was because everybody fucking hated Bashir because he was just an insufferable jackass.
Yeah.
And then they suddenly gave him a little bit of like, a little bit of like a little bit of a backstory, and then you end up with really, like, I think some of the best episodes, or not some of the best, but some of my favorite episodes, or not even my favorite, but whatever, some great episodes of DS9 are Dr. Bashir and the other genetically engineered people, where there's like all these other genetically engineered people who are not really fit for society, and they're like in Starfleet Medical, and there's a lot of interesting interaction. There's a really great relationship that happens between him and Garrick, the spy tailor. There's actually a whole episode about them getting trapped in a 1960s James Bond holodeck program.
I remember that.
It's goofy.
Yeah,
it's really good.
There's a lot of really goofy stuff in Deep Space Nine, and I feel like that's. I love Deep Space Nine, but I feel like out of all the shows, that one and Voyager are the ones that have like the goofier stuff. But
I mean,
but Deep Space Nine has more goofy than any other series, but it's in a good way. It's goofy. Yeah, it's goofy in a good way.
Like in that particular episode, the crew of Deep Space Nine is on the Defiant, I believe, or something, and it blows up. And the only way they could figure out to save them is they transport them to try to transport them into the station, but they can't. There's like some sabotage or something. So Bashir and Garrick are playing his 1960s super spy holosuite program, and the computer downloads the entirety of the rest of the crew into the computer, and then they become the villains. In his, there's an episode later on when they introduce Vic. God, what the hell was his last name?
Oh, I don't know.
He's a lounge singer.
Yeah.
What the hell is it? Vic Fontaine. They introduced Vic Fontaine as this lounge singer that runs this like 1950s like Las Vegas show, but everybody loves him because he's kind of like Moriarty on TNG, and so people will come just to like hang out in his lounge, and he calls everybody Pally, he gives them all advice, and then he goes up and he sings a little song, and then it turns out that the person that made him put in a thing where if things get too, like after a certain amount of time, if things are too bland, that like this trap door opens and this mobster comes in to take over the casino from Vic, and the Deep Space Nine crew has to pull an Ocean's 11 heist inside of the holosuite to get the holodeck guy his bar back. Like, that's why I love Deep Space Nine. There's an episode where Captain Benjamin Sisko has a problem with this Vulcan commander because this Vulcan commander's real shit to him because the Vulcan commander taught his team how to play baseball, and Benjamin Sisko loves baseball. Every time this Vulcan motherfucker shows up, he beats the shit out of Ben Sisko in baseball, and he does it like he's doing it to be shitty, but he's just like, but I'm a Vulcan. I don't have any emotions. We're just better than you at your game baseball. And Sisko's just like, fuck. They have a whole episode about baseball. They make Rom a likable character by the end of that show.
Yeah.
Also, the Dukat is one of the most interesting and layered bad guys in almost the entire Star Trek franchise. Sorry, I'm gonna finish this. Goddamn, I could talk about Star Trek forever. Apparently,
Voyager also has some good episodes, despite what some people may say. But
they're spottier.
Yeah, they are a little bit spottier.
Scorpion is good, where they bring in 7 of 9 for the first time.
I mostly like any episode where they deal with the Doctor, with the Holo Doctor.
Yeah, but she, Doctor, the Doctor.
Yeah, the holodeck Doctor. He had a lot of really good character growth episodes.
Yeah. But a lot of them, man. I mean,
I do remember there was one where, because he's not supposed to be on for as long as he is, like he's supposed to be in emergencies only,
right?
And he's been on for so long, and his program is taking up so much space in the computers,
right?
That they're like, they have to try to figure something out to try to save him, because the computer's going to delete his entire personality otherwise.
Yeah.
And so that was a really good episode.
Yeah.
The episode where they actually went back in time, and he ended up getting, which that was a weird episode. I liked it, but it was they went back in time, and then some guy discovers that they're from the future, and then uses future tech to create a way for the Doctor to...
Yeah, those weren't super...
That was a weird one, but it was an interesting one.
There's some good ones. I'm not as familiar because I don't like Voyager as much. And I don't really like... I like the finale of Voyager a little bit. They leaned really hard on the Borg. And they also leaned really hard. I fucking... Like, as much as I can sit here and talk about how I like Rom in Deep Space Nine, I fucking hate Neelix so much. I hate him.
Oh, I didn't hate him. No, I didn't really care for Tess, but she left after the first season.
Yeah.
Because fans hated her so much.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
I didn't have a problem with Neelix.
Oh, God, I hated Neelix so much.
I would say if there was any problem with Voyager is that...
Oh, that was a good one. Sorry. Year of Hell.
Yeah.
That was a really good episode. Sorry.
If there was any problem with Voyager and the Borg thing, is that they leaned hard into that Borg Queen thing from the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, they leaned really hard into that.
Yeah. I'm just not as much of a fan as like some of the... I feel like their characterization got a little not so great. Like the Doctor to me is the best person on that show.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree with that completely.
Oh man,
it's weird. I really like the idea in the first episode where Chakotay and his group are not Starfleet. They're
Maquis.
They're Maquis. They're rebels. They don't like Starfleet.
Yeah.
And then they both are like, well, we're stuck on this other side of the galaxy. We have to learn to work together.
Yep. And then it's gone.
And then it's gone.
Yeah.
Like all that's gone.
Yeah.
And I was like, they dealt with it for like 2 or 3 episodes, and then it was just like, we're all part of the same team, and we're all Starfleet.
Yep.
You know,
because the Maquis were they were like anti-Federation freedom fighters.
Yeah.
Who, when the Federation annexed a bunch of worlds after the war with the Cardassians, and these people were like, there's a great, oh God, I don't remember when DS9, there's a great character called Michael Eddington who, if you're watching the series from the beginning, this is a spoiler, so skip over it. But he's a guy he's like their chief engineer, or he's a security chief. He's a Starfleet security chief for a long time. And then it turns out that he was a Maquis, and he like steals the Defiant. And there's a great, it's such a good episode where it's Sisko chasing him across the galaxy, trying to corner him. And it's this weird morality parable. It's so good. Anyway.
Yeah.
Fuck it out.
I'm just saying, if I had one complaint with Voyager, is that they didn't really focus on that dynamic of you had one half of the crew being like total, like, Starfleet, we're Starfleet.
Yeah.
We may be nowhere near Starfleet, but we're Starfleet. We got to follow those regulations. And then you have the Maquis being like, nah, fuck you.
I thought it would have been much more interesting if time had gone on. Because one of the problems I feel like you have on a Starfleet ship is that everything is Starfleet, and we spent 9 seasons on the Enterprise. So I thought the Deep Space Nine worked out so well because of the mixture of different cultures. So I thought it would have been more interesting if it wasn't a Starfleet ship that got knocked into the Alpha Quadrant. Like maybe it was a an old Ferengi ship that that there were Starfleet officers like doing like attacking Maquis on this ship, and then the caretaker throws them, or if as they traveled across the galaxy they kept on taking on more and more aspects of the cultures that they ran into, instead of just remaining inviolate Starfleet. Because there's episodes of Deep Space Nine where if you don't know what happened like 3 episodes ago, you're kind of fucked. Whereas Voyager is very much kind of a problem of the week, and then everything resets at the end. Anyway, we were 40 minutes talking about Star Trek.
Yeah, sure.
Let's get another question or two in here. I'm going to have to cut a couple of these. So for everybody who sent their questions in, if you want... Sorry. Got talking about Star Trek. Let's see. This one comes in from Amanda, who says... Howdy, amigos. Let's say that augmented reality is a thing that is affordable and easily available for Joe Schmo. What types of AR games would you want to play as you navigate the real world? For me, I'd love to see a game that was that uses perhaps finger guns, pew pew pew, shoot things like people, things, or monsters, etc., to rack up points or complete objectives. Thanks, and yada yada Doncleys from Amanda.
How about a game?
Okay,
where you can go places.
Okay,
and catch Pokemon.
Boo!
Okay, sorry. I couldn't resist. It was low-hanging fruit.
What about a game that just fucks with you? What about a game that just like it's like John Constantine demons just start showing up in the background of your everyday world?
Yeah.
And
well, I think someone did make an AR game for your phone or something like that that's like Pokemon, but instead of Pokemon, it's ghosts.
Yeah.
And you have to like fight ghosts or whatever, which I thought was really interesting. And I always wanted to try it out, but I don't know if it came out or not.
It's such an early technology that I don't know. Like I'm inclined to just say just cover your entire field of vision.
I'm assuming he's talking about the Microsoft HoloLens or whatever. Like if that became like affordable and
right. A pair of sunglasses, but can work as the HoloLens was originally demonstrated and doesn't have any. I don't know. It'd be interesting. I think that if I had an augmented reality technology, I would use it more utilitarian than for games.
Yeah.
It depends on whether you needed peripherals, I guess, to interact with them. Because I don't ever want to play a game where I got to run around outside. It's hot outside. We're getting to Texas summer, man. You die. You run around outside too much, you die in Texas.
Well, I would also worry that someone wearing that and is playing some shooty game and they're like pew 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 and then like walk out on the street and get hit by a bus.
Yeah,
because they're only paying attention to what they're shooting at and not,
It might be interesting. There was a game that actually came out a little while back that used that was like a puzzle game, but like it's like little stick figures, but then every arena was like a piece of like a real world thing. So it'd be like the side of a street sign, and then you got to figure out how to platform through all the little letters of the street sign. I don't know. I don't actually know if
someone would probably make that game from Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Sure. And then you got to get the drugs, right?
Yeah.
Because you got to get the drugs when you get the things.
And then you throw the thing into the hole.
Yeah.
With your mind.
Yep. And then you have an orgasm, apparently.
Yeah.
At least that's if Nurse Takagawa or whatever was an indication. I don't really know, to be honest. I mean, like, I don't think I want to play. Like, you think of things that use the real world. The real world's boring. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I really want my video games out there in reality. But then I'm a big sucker for like sci-fi and stuff. I guess you could do a thing where like you go out into the forest and you can like fight a bunch of orcs and stuff. Like you can have an action game where it populates the world around you with stuff that you can go and walk around and do. But I feel like then you just get lost.
Yeah.
Then you beat the game and you're just like, where the fuck am I, man? You could probably do a zombie game pretty easily.
Yeah.
Like shooting zombies game. I'm not really a big fan of AR. I'm more of a fan of VR, of closing off your vision entirely and just doing VR.
I agree with that.
All right, one more question. This one comes in from Miro. Miro says, hey guys, do you think there is still a chance that Valve will release Half-Life 3?
No.
I hope John says yes. He's good with predictions. Last week he mentioned the SNES Classic, and this week we already have reports that's probably really on its way. Ray John Miro.
I don't know why that was funny, but I say no, and then he goes, I hope John says yes.
Yep.
And I'm not seeing this email, so I said no before even knowing that was the next part of it.
Yes,
so
you did.
I don't think. I mean, it could happen. Here's the thing. It could happen. Do I think it's going to happen? No.
I would probably. Wow. What's the last game Valve made?
Yeah.
Or Dota 2? Was that the last thing?
I mean, that wasn't really Valve though. They published it. Yeah, they bought it and published it. I mean, like Left 4 Dead 2, Portal 2.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that it would take. I don't think that if you project games forward, like the games industry forward into the future, and you say things occur on a relatively even plane of where we are right now, right? Increased technology, better looking games, some differences to control surfaces. Maybe VR takes off a little bit. Probably not. But if you get a thing, like I've always thought that if Valve made Half-Life 3 and it was a Vive-only game, if you had like a third generation Vive that you could hook up to any computer and it would run very well, you didn't need as much room for the room space stuff. You didn't need to be putting sensors around, right? Like if it was a self-contained thing, it was small, comfortable, easy to use. I feel like that would be the time when you would maybe see Valve start to go, well, we really want to sell the Vive, so we're putting out Half-Life 3, and it's Vive only. It's only for VR. Because that would be a big coup for VR. That would be a real killer app for VR. Personally, though, I hate to be sacrilegious to the video game community, so plug your ears up and go la la la. But I would rather play Portal 3. I'd rather have a Portal 3 than a Half-Life 3.
Yeah, I just don't think we're gonna get. I'm sure they're working on something.
Yeah,
I just don't think it's Half-Life 3. Or
I don't think they're working on games. I think they're just working on.
I've read some things that from people saying they are working on something. That there is a team that is working on something game related.
Yeah.
As for what that game is, what platform is it? Just PC? Is it for consoles? Is it for PC and consoles? Is it for VR or whatever? No one's really seemed to say. I have a feeling they do have one team that is working on something.
Okay.
I don't know if it's Half-Life 3.
Well, actually, no. Just to go back, they did make the Valve like VR experience thing, right? That had like the fixing the robot on the Vive, fixing Atlas on the Vive, and then there was like 4 other games. I played a bunch of them at my friend's house on his Vive. So you could who knows? I like to say no, because the video game industry likes to fuck me by doing the thing that I said last week. Could never happen. So I like to publicly decry as much as possible. Like, there will never be a Half-Life 3. They're not even working on a Half-Life 3. They're not even thinking about Half-Life 3. Just that next week they announce, hey, everybody, Half-Life 3 is out. And I'm just like, yes, you have fucked me. You have made me look like a fool, and I could not be happier about that.
Yeah. I honestly, I don't think it's going to happen.
Also, Hideo Kojima will never come to my house. He will never give me a private demo of Death Stranding, and we will never go out to dinner, and he'll never be my best friend ever, ever, ever.
Yeah, I think that's true.
Thanks, everybody, for listening. This is the end of the podcast this week.
Jeff's going to go cry now.
Mail at RageSite.com is the email address. I just want to be friends with Hideo Kojima.
It's okay.